Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. I am so excited that I have Dr. P on here with me. And she's going to share exactly who she is and what it is that she does. So Dr. P, take it away.
I'm Puja Aggerwal. I am a board certified neurologist, an epileptologist, a speaker, and also a certified executive coach. I help coach female professionals with burnout to stop people pleasing, to let go of perfectionism, and learn to set boundaries and say no. And so I actually use a neuroscience-based approach. So it's backed by science because I am a neurologist. So I use tools that really help rewire your brain to learn to set boundaries, to live a more empowered life through mindfulness, gratitude, journaling, and again, setting boundaries and learning to say no.
Oh, that is so powerful. All right, so now we're going to get into it. What brought you to that point? What made you decide that that was something that you wanted to add to your, because you kind of added to your practice, don't you?
Yeah, so actually I do it separate than that. So
Okay.
I practice inpatient medicine, so I don't really use the coaching there. So so it was about 6 years ago. I was a practicing neurologist. I was working long hours. I was taking 14 weeks of call, and literally I burnt out. And this was
Mhm.
only my second year of practicing after my residency. That I was not sleeping much, only a few hours, taking 2 to 3 weeks of call at a time, always worrying about work. I was in like a brain fog, kind of having
Mhm.
difficulty focusing, and I wasn't taking care of myself. I was eating whatever was in front of me, and sometimes I'd eat more, sometimes I'd eat less. But
Mhm.
some definitely issues with waking, and then again, that not sleeping, and then I was just irritable. I was
Mhm.
so irritable with my husband, with my kids, and it wasn't until really now that I look back, or even like a couple years ago, seeing that that was actually burnout. Okay, at that point I didn't have that name available to me because burnout at that point wasn't really talked about as much as it has been in the
No.
last couple of years.
Mhm.
So when I was experiencing this, I was like, well, what's wrong with me? Is it work? What's causing all this? I definitely thought it was work. But then I was like, well, do I need to see my physician? Is it, definitely just anxiety, or is it not just
Yeah.
anxiety? Is it depression? Or,
Yes.
what is it?
Mhm.
And, I saw a counselor, I saw my doctor, but those things just didn't fit with me. And then,
Right.
I was new to coaching. I came across a coach. So I decided to hire the coach. The coach helped me with my mindset. I used to be very negative. And naturally, our brains are very negative. We have this negativity bias. So we tend to dwell on the mistakes that we make instead of focusing on the
Yes.
positives. And
Yes.
so that coach helped me to really rewire my brains through a concept called neuroplasticity,
Oh,
where
nice.
you can change the pathways in your brain to become more positive, or to, through habit formation. And so that's really what helped me. And the change that I've noticed in the last, few years has been major. I mean, I'm now in major magazines. I've been in Forbes. I was on a Times Square billboard. I've been in multiple magazines. So coaching really
Nice.
helped me realize I could do a lot more with my life. And, during the pandemic, I saw there were a lot of females who are having trouble balancing work and home life, especially with
Yes.
remote
Kids.
and sometimes having virtual schooling. And so I decided to become a certified life coach. So I got certified life coach school. And then I now coach female professionals. The name of my business is called Zenful Brain. And I also speak. I've been a guest on several podcasts. I really love to share, things that people can do, or tangible things they can start doing today to help improve their
Yes.
quality of life.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. That's powerful. I was thinking about that when you were talking about the neuroplasticity. That's something that Dr. Joe talks about, right? Dispenza?
So the who?
Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Yes. Mhm.
That's what I thought. Because I was listening, I was like, I've heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very common phenomenon. I think it's under talked about or underutilized.
Right.
We can actually manipulate our brains or rewire the pathways
Mhm.
to serve us in a different way, to serve us in a more purposeful way. And I think a lot of people don't really know that. They think that whatever I'm born with or the way I am is the way I'm going to be, and I can't change that. But really, you
Right.
can change it.
And the thing is I think we have to really, we have to know that,
Yeah. Mhm.
because we don't know. And typically we're not taught that, growing up,
True.
and, we're not.
Hey, I'm a neurologist, okay? I didn't think about this. It was
You've
until a
been to
coach.
school forever.
Yeah, neuroplasticity is there as talked about, but it's very different when you're implementing it and you're actually seeing those changes for yourself in who
Mhm.
you are and what you do in life. So really that change really helped propel me to where I'm at today.
Mhm. Wow. And so when you work with women, do you typically work with women like yourself, like that are driven and, in high pressure careers?
So I work with, a lot of different women. I work with lawyers, I work with physicians, I work with nurses, I work with nurse practitioners, I work with CPAs, and I've spoken at several events, just in general with men and women. So I do
Mhm.
tend to focus more on female professionals. But if
Mhm.
you come to me and we see we're a mutual fit, and you think you can work with me, and I think I can work with you,
Mhm.
then I'm happy to take you on as a client. So I'm willing to. I do focus mainly on women, though.
Yeah, I could see, because, honestly, women need this more, I think.
Yes, I definitely think they do. Actually, I think that every woman deserves a coach. I think a coach can really help you get rid of your self-limiting beliefs and
Mhm.
really take you to a different level in your life.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, so where do you see yourself going in the future? What do you see for your coaching as well as your practice?
Yeah, so in terms of my practice, seeing patients, that is always going to be a part of my life. I recently I was researching the brain. I'm a neuroscientist, and I really still felt like I really loved seeing patients. So that will always be a part of me. So right now I do see patients in the hospital, and so that's something I'm going to continue. But for my coaching practice, what I really see is eventually just expanding my message, growth, speaking at major events, doing more of the speaking, and doing more group coaching. Right now I do one-on-one and a little bit of group coaching, but eventually I just want to have group coaching. I think you have more of an impact with group coaching. Not that you don't one-on-one, but you reach more people. And
Right.
so I eventually too, I'm looking to write a book. I'm looking, I got a couple opportunities to be part of anthologies. And so I'm trying to weigh my options, do one of those or write my own book. So I'm looking into a lot of different avenues, but I'm just always putting myself out there, and I love podcasting like this and being a guest.
That's awesome. I love that. And I love the fact that, you're focused on the growth. And I know for one-on-one, I like, to be honest with you, I do healing work and I love the one-to-one. I do. And I had never done it in person until just recently, and I fell in love with it. Just
Oh,
I don't know, I guess because you could just see the transformation right there. You know what I
mhm.
mean? And it was just so powerful. And I was like, man, I didn't know this was this powerful, because I've done it like on Zoom, but I
Yeah.
had never done it in person because I didn't, have a place. I don't have an office or anything like that. And so I was like, man. And so I started thinking about that, and I was like, should I go for group stuff, or, should I just do this one-to-one? Because I really like that. It was just so amazing, and I wonder um, if you can even have the type of impact that you have with the one-to-one. I know that people do probably, but I just wondered.
I think it really depends upon what you're doing and what you find joy in. I definitely like one-to-one, but I think also with the group, you can reach more people for what I do. I think energy healing obviously depends what you do. If that's something you like, then that's something that you can definitely work one-on-one with. And I think it just really depends what you feel like you find joy with and what other
Hmm.
people, your clients, how it works for
Yeah,
them.
and that's key right there.
Yeah.
That's the key. And I think when I listen to you, I feel like you really help people to understand who they are, and to really hone in on that so that they can move in that direction. Because I know that, in all kinds of areas, especially with this pandemonium that we just had, people are burned out.
Mhm.
They're frustrated, they tired, they overworked.
Yeah.
I know that those are probably people that are coming to you now because, we have this time now, and we can actually, think
Mhm.
past
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the norm has always been just to go, go, go.
Hmm.
Let's hurry up. Let's be perfectionists. Let's just do everything we could possibly do. And then it becomes like this rat race where we just keep on going and going and going. And then where's the meaning in life? We lose
Hmm.
who we are to our work, to other
Hmm.
things. And then, there is no meaning. And, that's what happens in burnout. So when I experienced burnout, it really changed who I was to the core. And that's really what I want people to realize. Burnout changes who you are, and that burnout is not something that you can continue to sustain. because it will affect you. It can cause anxiety, depression, increases your risk of suicide if you don't get help. So, I mean,
Yes.
there are consequences of burnout. Not only that, but there's physical and emotional consequences too. And
Yes.
so burnout is something you definitely need to get help for. And
Mhm.
that, burnout is not due to you being weak, or it's not due to, those types of things. Definitely, your personality can contribute, but a lot of it is
Mhm.
also external. What is your workload? How much work are you getting? And are you saying yes to your workload for fear of rejection? Okay.
Yes.
So that's where those
Yes.
people pleasing tendencies come in.
Yeah.
And then, what is your community like at work or at home? What are your relationships like? So, lack of appreciation, lack of fairness at work can also lead to burnout. And so there's a lot of different factors that go into causing burnout. So it's not like it's due to just like the person being weak. It's not because they're weak.
And what's wild is that's one of the things that they used to say.
Yeah.
Because I remember, because I've been looking at it, because to be honest, I think I've been burned out for about 10 years.
Oh.
and so different times I would just take a break, like I've been off for almost a whole month because I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't go. I talked to my husband. I was like, I can't do it. I need a break. I need to take some time. I need to breathe. I need to think. I need to not do that. But I know that that also is a cause, and this is what I'm seeing too, as I start looking at like different articles and people, things that are happening with people, that's a cause of like suicide. Like you said, people are killing themselves because they're burned out.
Yeah. So actually, here's a
They're dying.
statistic. Yeah. Here's a statistic for doctors. They say, 1 out of every 5 doctors who experience burnout will commit suicide. And there was actually an ER physician in New York, I think it was Lorna
I
Breen,
remember that.
who commit
Yes.
suicide because of COVID and the pandemic and how much she was seeing of death.
I
And things
remember
like
that. I saw that.
Yeah.
I actually talked about that on a live because I was like, that just broke my heart.
I know. And it's not just doctors, it's nurses too. Nurses have been working shift after shift with no break. They are experiencing burnout. And every other person in healthcare is experiencing burnout. So I really think it comes back to, how are we as a society portraying the way life should be? We
Right.
shouldn't be overwhelmed, overworked, and burnt out.
Exactly. And I truly believe that it's important, for the work that you do to help people to move past these things, because I mean, it's too many people that are like, killing themselves and dropping dead from, because when I read that somebody was 35 and they dropped dead from natural causes, no, there's nothing natural about dying at 35. It's
Yeah,
not.
I mean, it's not common. There's a lot of times it's stress. We have to meet all these society's expectations. So like, let's say, for example, for females, you have to be the perfect mother. You have to be the perfect wife. You have to be the best in your occupation. You have all of these society's expectations on you, in addition to the expectations that you put on yourself,
Yes.
or the family puts on you. And then it's so hard to meet all of that and to balance it, and also, take care of yourself. That's why often we put ourselves last.
Yes.
And that's where it leads to burnout. So I think often it's really what we need to do is change the expectations from society, let go of the expectations that we put on ourselves, and really focus on what we want to do in life.
Yeah. And do you feel like the fact that women don't typically support each other is also a factor in that? Because
yeah. So here, let me give you an example. Okay, so amongst women physicians or female physicians, there is sometimes this, I guess, theory that, I suffered in residency or when I was a medical student, so you need to suffer. Like, let's say you're attending, meaning you've completed residency, so then you tell your residents or you tell medical students, well, you need to suffer. You need to come early. You need to do this because I suffered too. And that kind of mentality makes it worse. Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of empowering and lifting up those medical students or those residents or other healthcare workers, saying that let's change the way healthcare is.
Yeah.
Let's focus more on who we are, taking care of ourselves, and making that movement instead of trying to perpetuate that cycle of abuse.
Yeah. And that's real. It's, to me, it's similar to when you have the sororities and the fraternities. The hazing and stuff. Okay, so I was hazed, so you're gonna get hazed, and I mean, come on now, what is that even about? You think about that, it's like, come on, really? I mean, just because No, times have changed. That was 20 years ago or whatever, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I truly believe that it's like, come on, let's come together. Let's come together. I don't know what it's going to take for us to do that, because I truly believe that a part of some of the things that have happened here in the States with women's rights,
Mhm.
is because women won't come together.
I think they're afraid to. I think they're afraid of what other people will say.
Hmm.
I think they're afraid of how their family will react. I think they're
Hmm.
afraid of putting themselves out there. And I think they're afraid of the repercussions of doing something like that. Because I do have to say, it's very real being, especially like I'm a minority woman, okay? I was born and
Hmm.
raised here, and then, you already have, it's harder being a minority woman. Or female.
Yes.
So, I mean, things can be very different. So then want to keep quiet. We don't want to put ourselves out there. We don't want to speak
Right.
up. So there's fear of repercussion or rejection and things like that. And so I think really once that goes away and there is more of like this movement of let's uplift each other, let's empower each other, will that change?
Yes. Yes. I believe that too, because it's hard, especially because I'm going to say this, because I realized that racism is embedded. It's not, and it's embedded in the world. It's not even just this country. It's the world. It's all
Mhm.
over, everywhere. There's
Mhm.
racism. And it's like, once we get to a place where we can move that needle,
Mhm.
where it's not, where they just look at you a certain way. You know what I mean? They probably look at you and start trying to speak crazy.
So yes, I've had patients who say to me, excuse me,
You speak English?
yeah, that, or they go, you speak really good English. How did you learn? I was like, I was born and raised here. English is my first language. And then they don't believe me. Or they ask me, where are you from?
Mhm.
I say Ohio, which is where I was born and raised. They go, no, where are you really from? I'm like, Ohio. And I go, it's a city, Cincinnati. And then they're like, oh, where are your parents from? I'm like, yeah, they're from India, but I'm American.
Look, but I was born here.
Yes.
I get that. I even get that. They say, so are you from Africa? And I'm like, maybe my people somewhere down the line are, but everybody, I'm from Georgia. They're like, where you from? I get that, especially here. I noticed that because it's such a big melting pot.
Mhm.
Lots of different kind of people here.
Yeah.
And so when I go places, a lot of times there's a lot of Africans. So they already assume that, like, oh, what part of Africa are you from? I'm like, no
Mm.
part. I'm from here, born and raised. But I know that is also something that we deal with too in this, in this arena. But what was I going to say? So how do you, when you deal with your clients, when they come to you and they're in the midst of burnout, and they're at
Mhm.
this place where, they're just done, they can't, whatever it is they're doing, they can't do that much longer, that kind of thing. What is the first thing that you work with them on?
So I really work, first of all, on what have their behaviors been in the past and where are they at right now in their life. So I actually go through, I have an intake form about people-pleasing behavior, about perfectionism, where they go through and they actually rank themselves in terms of the behavior, how often they do them. And then I also look at, how are they taking care of themselves? Are they getting enough sleep? Are they noticing a change in their weight? Are they noticing that they're just overall unhappy? And I do want to point out, oftentimes I have people come to me who have anxiety or depression. I am a physician, however, I am not treating that anxiety or depression. I am trying to focus more on overall health in terms of wellness, letting go of certain behaviors, people pleasing, perfectionism, and learning to say no or set boundaries. So if people have anxiety or depression, or, obviously if they're suicidal, I do not take them on as clients. They need to go to the ER if
So
they're
somebody
suicidal,
that
or
does that.
yes, yeah, or see their doctor or counselor, or,
Hmm.
whoever it is. But so I do focus on where they're at right now, what led them up to be where they're at right now. I look at those factors and then give them the tools to actually change their behaviors. Because there is only up to a certain point that you can control in life. It's what you do, how you think, and how you feel. You
Yeah.
cannot control what other people do, but you can control how
No.
you react to that and how you think about it. So
Yes.
I focus really on doing what we call a thought download. in certain circumstances, we're really examining their thoughts and their feelings and what actions and what results that's producing in their life. So I really help focus on a mindset shift to be able to take on new challenges and to be okay with change. And so that, and then journaling, I teach my clients breath work, and then to practice gratitude. So
I love that.
yeah, gratitude is such an underutilized tool.
Yes,
You know,
it is.
so gratitude is a practice of being grateful for things that you already have.
Mhm.
So it's not just the practice of being grateful. Yes, that's a part of it, but also actually verbalizing it or writing it down.
Yeah.
Really, when you write down 3 to 5 things every day that you are grateful for, and your brain sees it on paper, and you do this, you make it a habit, meaning you do it daily for at least 1 to 2 months, you are rewiring the pathways in your brain through neuroplasticity. And then you're increasing the dopamine in your brain and the amygdala, which is your feeling center. And then that causes what we call like a dopamine rush. So you, over time, are increasing your joy and your happiness in life. And then overall, gratitude has been shown through research to actually, if you have more calm and stressful situations, it's helped you focus better. And then it's actually been shown to help with your overall physical health. You have a lower heart rate, lower risk of high blood pressure, lower risk of migraines and diabetes and stroke. So gratitude is something people can start right now to help improve their health.
I was gonna say, do you feel like maybe, and I don't know if this might be a stretch and it might be long, I don't know, but I wanted to ask it. Do you feel like maybe with the increase of dopamine that you're going to get through having the gratitude practice, do you think that that will help to, not really keep people from having Parkinson's, but do you think that that might affect that in some way?
I mean, I think it can help with your mental health. I'm not going to say that it's going to prevent Parkinson's. They're two very different things. Because
Okay.
you're talking about dopamine in a certain part of the brain. For Parkinson's, it's called the substantia nigra, where they lose cells there that causes Parkinson's. So they're very, very different things.
Okay, gotcha. So as you move forward, and you said you have kids and all that stuff, right?
I do have 2 kids. I have an 8-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son, and I'm actually married to a physician also.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say, so do you work with your children with some of these techniques so that they can
I do. So I actually do the gratitude. We make it like a family affair. So we practice it together. And then actually it really, I think children tend to focus on what they don't have. They're like, I want that shiny new object, or I want that toy, instead of be grateful for what they have. So I think really when my kids start to ask for new things, practicing gratitude, being grateful for what they actually have, really helps change their mind about wanting more things. They're happier, they're showing up better in life. And then the other thing that I really teach my kids is where we talk about mindset. So a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. So there is an American psychologist, her name was Carol Dweck. She did research on this, where people who have a growth mindset, where they are willing to take on new challenges, they know that they can fail, but still move on from it. And they know that you can make a mistake and you'll be okay. And they're willing to experience anxiety, fear, and all these different emotions, that they are much more successful in life versus people who have what we call a fixed mindset, meaning people who think however they are right now is however they're going to be the rest of their lives. They feel like they can't change. They have a fear of taking on new challenges because they think that they're going to fail and they think they'll never recover from that. So people who have a growth mindset are much more successful in life because they focus on how far they've come versus focusing on, where they're at, what they don't have. Right. So really that's something that I work on my kids with.
Yeah, because they'll be in a much different place than most of us were, because they have the benefit of learning all this stuff and actually continuing, because how kids are amazing. I love them in those ages that your kids are amazing. I love that age.
They soak up everything you say and they listen to everything you're talking about all the time.
Yeah, like a sponge.
Yes.
Yeah, I love them. So I did a lot of that kind of stuff with my kids, even though I wasn't even in the space where I am now, but I did a lot of things like that because I wanted them to, be people that weren't afraid of having experiences.
Yeah.
And I think I did a pretty good job because they all moved to Texas. I live up here, they live in Texas, and they're good, and they don't mind. My daughter went to Oregon, my son drove out to California because it was something he wanted to do. He had fixed his van up. He had like a little, I don't know if you know about the Scooby and Shaggy man.
Yes, I grew up on Scooby.
That's what I was trying to think. I was like,
Yeah.
are you old?
No, I did.
But
I watched it.
he had a Scooby van, and he kitted it out and put a little sink in it, and whatever, and a bed and stuff, and he drove across the country to California, and drove up and down California because he wanted to just see it, and drove to Oregon, and so that was just something he wanted to do, and I was excited for him because a lot of kids are not in that space where they're able to just go and pursue things that they want to do. And I encouraged it. People were telling me, "Oh, you're letting him go to California?" I was like, "Letting him go, he's grown. He bought his own van. I didn't buy it." I was like, he's a grown man. He can do what he wants to do. If he wants to do that, I said, I'm behind him. I support him. But yeah, I think that is so important for us to raise our kids that way, and it's just, to me, it's amazing. And as they grow and you start to see them, come into themselves and, be who they are, because so many people try to get kids to be little them.
They want to live through their kids and do the things that they never did when they were kids.
Yes. And I'm like, that is so unfair, because they might not want to do that. You can't be pushing, pushing that off on them. All right. So let's talk about what you're looking for as far as, or do you have like a program or something that you're filling or something you want to share?
Yeah, so right now, because I talk about boundaries, learning to say no, right now I have an offer. It's a 90-minute session of setting boundaries. It's called 90 Minutes of Intense Power, where I help you examine your people-pleasing behavior and basically look at how this has affected your life. And then I give you the tools where you learn to set boundaries and to say no. But not only to set boundaries and to say no, but to go of the guilt and shame with saying no. So that's something that comes over time with practice. And so in addition to that, I'm offering, I have a boundaries ebook included in this course, in addition to a self-confidence building book. And there's a couple other goodies there where you can help, it gives you the tools to build your self-confidence and to learn to say no and to be happier in life.
Oh, that is so powerful. People need that so much. Because, especially women, we're taught not to say no.
Yes.
We're taught to say yes to everything and all this stuff and be all overworked. And yeah, it's a good thing. I'm so excited about that. All right. So let the people know where they can connect with you, where the best place to connect with you. And I'll also put all this in the show notes. So they'll have your links and all that stuff. And if you provide the link for that program, it's in there as well.
Yes, I may not have sent that, but I'll email it to you after this. So actually, you can find me on my website. It's www.zenfulbrain.com. That's ZENFULBRAIN.com. I'm also on Instagram. It's at @ZenfulBrainOfficial. I'm also on TikTok. It's at ZenfulDoctor. And then I'm also I'm on Facebook. I have a business page on Facebook.
Love it. Love it. I love TikTok.
Are you on?
I do. I am. I'm actually getting ready to do some lives, because I love it because it's just so interesting and so many different things, and you can learn so much. I've learned a lot of history on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things on there.
A lot of stuff. I told somebody, I said, all you got to do is go on TikTok. I see you can learn it.
It's a search engine now. They're trying to make it like a Google.
I love it. I honestly like it better than Facebook. I just know Facebook better because I've been on it longer, but I'm kind of going over to TikTok and YouTube more, and Instagram, I never really understood it. So I don't do that much either.
I don't know Instagram that well. I heard it's like a nurturing platform, but I have a VA. She knows what to do with her things. So
yeah, me too. I just kind of go on there, and like I did a live today, and I did it on Facebook, YouTube, and then I did on the phone on Instagram. So I was on all three of the places at the same time. And I kind of do it that way because I know a lot of people like Instagram more than Facebook and all this stuff. And, and I'm kind of, like I said, I'm shifting over to YouTube and TikTok and, that kind of thing, because I'm just tired of Facebook and foolishness. But yeah, so I have truly enjoyed talking to you. This has been the most amazing conversation. And I've learned so much. And I appreciate you coming on. I thank you for your time because, I know it's late for you.
Yeah, no, I'm always excited to be a guest on a podcast. And thank you for having me. I appreciate your time too.
Oh yeah, it's been amazing. So anyway, so we're gonna pop off, and I want to thank everyone for joining us. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, this show will premiere next. It'll premiere on the, trying to see what is the date. I think it'll premiere on the 10th, on December 10th. And I'll also provide the links. I'll send the link for where it is on Anchor and also on YouTube, so you can post them wherever you want to. So I'm super excited about it. It's going to be amazing. And I'm so grateful just for you coming on and speaking about this, because this is something that women need. You know,
Yes.
this is not even to me, it's almost like a necessity, you know, because
Yeah.
women need that, you know.
They definitely do. They
Yeah.
often think they don't need it, and then that they're overwhelmed and anxious and burned out.
Exactly. It's almost like, it's like insurance, you know, you don't need it till you need it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. My guest, Dr. Puja Aggerwal,
Mhm.
has been amazing. She has provided so much value today, and I appreciate her. Make sure that you go and you follow her where she is and on her links, and take advantage of her program. I'll have that in the link in the show notes so that you can just click it. So make sure that you're following her, and make sure you're following me as well on YouTube and all the places where you know that I am. But I appreciate her for joining me tonight. And
Thank you
so
so much.
much. You're so welcome.